Okay, so hope that everyone just still getting set up, getting prepared, but we will get started shortly. All right, hi there to hear me. I had to unmute my microphone. I'm just saying hello to everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Is everyone doing well? Is everybody okay? Okay. Okay. And David, nice to see you here. I've been seeing some of the comments, advice that you've given to some people in the Discord, and I thought it was very nice, very insightful. And Jaden, glad you're doing. So I'm just going to put some more wood on the fire, and we'll get started shortly. Welcome everyone. We'll go ahead and get started with some meditation practice. Take a moment to find your meditation position, whatever that is for you. Get comfortable and stable in that meditation position. And as we hear the sound of the bell, we can bring our full attention at this moment to the breath, to the body, and take a few minutes to begin by just breathing, just being aware. No complicated spiritual meditation method or ideas, just sitting somewhat still, focusing on the breath and noticing what is it like to be a human being at this moment? What is it like to have a body and mind? So if we want to make progress on the path, if we want to gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and of the world, we have to be willing to sit. We have to be willing to stop. And in that stopping, in that sitting, we can begin to notice, to be aware of what is actually going on right now. It's only from this place of awareness, this willingness to stop, this willingness to be aware of what is going on right now, that we can walk the path, or that we can learn about Buddhism, or meditation, or spirituality. If we do not have this willingness to stop just for a moment, if we are really not ready to walk, not ready to listen to spiritual teachings, so sitting here together at this moment, not having any kind of complicated meditation method, but just to sit and to stop, to breathe and be aware of body and mind at this moment. For a few more minutes before we begin our reading, our listening to these deep teachings of Zen from Master Empty Cloud, just sitting, just breathing, totally being with what is happening right now. At this moment, instead of giving so much attention, so much focus to our thoughts, our words, our judgments, giving our full attention to the body. The body sitting here at this moment. without any extra layers of conceptual thought, any extra ideas or stories about what we're doing. At this moment, just breathing. Just breathing, just being aware of the body right now. Allowing every distraction and every complicated thought to be your reminder, your invitation to return back to just breathing, just being aware. Okay, so we will begin now with our continued study of the direct teachings, the Zen teachings of Zen Master Empty Cloud. Study Sorry, I think it's possible that we had some audio issues there. I apologize for that. This microphone may be broken. Yeah, so if something like that ever happens, please send me a message. Please let me know so that that kind of thing doesn't continuously happen. Um, Hopefully it's better now for everyone. And we will go ahead and begin to do our reading of the teachings of Zen Master Empty Cloud. So we left off last time with the story of Virudaka, the Crystal King, and this teaching of cause and effect, and how we cannot avoid, we cannot get away from, we cannot run away from the effects of our actions, even if we move to an entirely different part of the world. Cause and effect is still going to be with us. The effects of our actions are still going to be with us. So we'll continue our reading. And so you see, there is no end to cause and effect. A cause produces an effect, which itself becomes the cause of another effect. Action and reaction, tribute and retribution. This is the law of causality. Sooner or later, our evil deeds catch up with us. The only way to prevent the effect is to prevent the cause. We must learn to be forgiving, to overlook injury and insult, and to never seek revenge or even harbor any grudges. We must never become zealots, self-righteous and proud in our vain notions of piety and duty. And above all, we must always be gentle, especially with children. Let me tell you another cause and effect story. This one concerns Chan Master, which means Zen Master, Baizang, who actually was able to liberate a wild fox spirit. Very few people have been able to do that. It seems that one evening, after a Chan meeting had ended and all his disciples had retired, Master Baizang noticed that an elderly man was lingering outside the meditation hall. Baizang approached the man and asked, "Tell me, sir, who or what is it that you are seeking?" The elderly man replied, "No, not sir. I am not a human being at all. I am a wild fox who is merely inhabiting the body of a man." Baizang was naturally very surprised and curious. "How did you get into this condition?" he asked. The elderly fox man explained, 500 years ago, I was the head monk of this monastery. One day, a junior monk came and asked me, when a person attains enlightenment, are they still subject to the law of causality? And I boldly answered him, no, they are exempt from the law, someone who is enlightened. My punishment for this false and arrogant answer was that my spirit was changed into the spirit of a wild fox, and so I ran off into the mountains. As a fox man, I could not die, and for so long as my ignorance remains, I must continue to live in this wretched condition. For 500 years I have been roaming the forests, seeking the knowledge that will free me. Master, I beg you to be compassionate towards me and to enlighten me to the truth. Master Beizong spoke gently to the fox man. Ask me the same question that the junior monk asked you, and I will give you the correct answer. The fox man complied. I wish to ask the master this. When a man attains enlightenment, is he still subject to the law of causality? Baizang answered, yes. He is never exempt from the law. He may never close his eyes to the possibilities of cause and effect. He must remain aware of all his present and past actions. Suddenly, the old fox man was enlightened and free. He prostrated himself before the master and thanked him profusely. At last he said, I am liberated. Then, as he started to leave, he turned and asked Baizang, Master, since I am a monk, would you kindly grant me the usual funeral rites for a monk? I live nearby in a den on the mountain behind the monastery, and I will go there now to die. Baizang agreed, and the next day he went to the mountain and located the den. But instead of finding an old monk there, Baizang saw only a disturbance in the den's earthen floor. He probed this disturbance with his stick and discovered a dead fox. Well, a promise is a promise. Master Baizang conducted the usual monk's funeral rites over the fox's body. Everyone thought Baizang quite mad, especially when he led a solemn funeral procession with a dead fox on the funeral pyre. So in Buddhism, there are a very long history of analogies, using analogies to teach, stories that have a deeper meaning. So that's what this is about, not believing in fox spirits and reincarnation or being turned into a fox or something like this, but there's a deeper meaning there. And in the same way, there's a deeper meaning, there's a deeper reality to our moment-to-moment life. Things are not as they appear to be. It's more subtle, it's more refined, of cause and effect going on moment to moment, so quickly that we could barely see it. Master Empty Cloud spoke in this story about, the reason that this monk had been turned into a fox is because someone asked him, after you are enlightened, are you affected by cause and effect? And this, monk arrogantly answered, well, no, you're free from cause and effect at that point. And so he got sent into this lower realm, this kind of trapped existence. And Master Baizang here eventually gave the correct answer. And that is that an enlightened person is never exempt from cause and effect. An enlightened person may never close their eyes to the possibilities of cause and effect, moment by moment, how we act and the effects that will cause. They must remain aware of all their present and past actions. So a lot of the times we aren't aware of any of our actions. A lot of the times we're almost running around with a blindfold on and our ears covered up and just moving from one place to another according to our desires, according to our whims and fancies. But the enlightened person must remain aware of all their present and past actions moment to moment. So careful, so refined, so looking closely in each and every moment. So you see, dear friends, even the attainment of Buddhahood does not exempt one from the law of causality. When even the Buddha can suffer a headache for having been unkind to a fish, how much more is our need to remain heedful of the principle that an injurious act, an act that causes harm to another, or takes away from another for our benefit at their expense, sooner or later will bring us an injurious retribution. Be careful in what you say or do. Don't risk becoming a fox spirit. As to the second requirement, the strict observance of the rules of discipline, I will tell you sincerely that there can be no spiritual progress without morality and the fulfillment of religious duty. Discipline is the foundation upon which enlightenment rests. Discipline regulates our behavior and makes it unchanging. Steadiness becomes steadfastness, and it is this which produces wisdom. Steadfastness here as a continuity of our practice, as an unwavering commitment and application of our method of meditation, of our carefulness, of our moment-to-moment awareness. And this is what becomes wisdom. This is what becomes insight. This continuity, this consistency, this willingness to stay with our practice even when cheesecake is in front of us, or even when a warm bath on a mountaintop with snow and stars is before us. We stay with our practice. We stay with our mindfulness, with our awareness. We don't fall into these dreaming, arrogant, self-righteous, fanatic states. But we stay with our awareness of cause and effect, our awareness of the arising and passing away of sensations, our awareness of our responsibility to our morality, and the fulfillment of our duty, our responsibilities to ourselves and to other people. So steadiness, simplicity, balance becomes steadfastness, becomes a willingness to continue your practice in any circumstance, in any situation. And it is this which produces wisdom. The Shurangama Sutra clearly teaches us that mere accomplishment in meditation will not erase our impurities. Even if we were able to demonstrate great proficiency in meditation, still, without adherence to discipline, we would easily fall into Mara's evil realm of demons and heretics. Mara's evil realm here is referring to the realm of attachment, desire, lust, anger, hatred, falling into this realm of self-clinging, of desire and aversion. This is the realm of Mara. And we will find that in our practice things are going well. We taking care of our mind, we taking care of our body, but then something comes up and says, hello, I'm here to seduce you. Hello, I'm here to make you do something unskillful because it is pleasurable. And it's at that point that we fall into the grasp of Mara. We fall into this very selfish realm of existence that only produces more and more suffering. Mara's evil realm of demons and heretics. And how many of us are surely demons and heretics, either at this time or another time, right? We're not all saints. I'm certainly not a saint. So we're all kind of falling into these realms. All the more reason to practice to develop a steadiness, a balance, and eventually that can become this steadfastness, this resolve to continue regardless of the circumstances that we find ourselves in. and that is continuing in the path of establishing ourselves in peace, healing, alleviating those sufferings, those confusions, those doubts about what we are doing. A person who is diligent in observing moral discipline and religious duty is protected and encouraged by sky dragons and angels, just as they are avoided and feared by demons from the underworld and heretics from everywhere. And that sounds nice, doesn't it? A person who is diligent in observing moral discipline, so a person who continuously remembers to ask this question of, how can I be a good person? And deeply, asking it deeply, how can I be a good person? And naturally, if you ask that question regularly and you ask that question deeply, you're not just going to put your head in the sand or go and look for starbursts. Go and look for candy. Starburst is an American candy. You're going to look for the answer to this question. How can I really be a good person? How can I really be skillful, to be good, to be wholesome, to take care of myself and to take care of others? And if you adhere to that moral discipline, and Buddhism has a framework for morality, but it still comes back to, how can you be a good person? How can you apply it in your life? So a person who is diligent in observing the wisdom, the information that you get from asking that question deeply, the answers that you come up with that apply to your life of how you can be a good person. If you are diligent, consistent in observing, staying close to, remembering, and following your duty to that discipline of being a good person, a person who is diligent in this way and in religious duty, which I'm not sure exactly what Empty Cloud is talking about here in terms of religious duty, but it's probably along the lines of doing your meditation practice, having your spiritual practice, your approach to your life of your spirituality, and remembering that and fulfilling that duty, so that every day you do a meditation, or every day you do a chanting, or you read something that's meaningful for you. So a person who is diligent in observing moral discipline and their spiritual practice, their spiritual responsibility, is protected and encouraged by sky dragons and angels, in the same way that they are avoided and feared by demons from the underworld and heretics from everywhere. Now for me, I've never seen a sky dragon, I've never spoken to an angel, but observing moral discipline and remembering my spiritual practice, that's very, very good. And so if I do that, and that means I'm also going to be protected and encouraged by sky dragons and angels, great, bring them on. And if that also means that I'm going to be avoided and feared by demons from the underworld and heretics from everywhere, we can say overconfident, confused people when it comes to heretics. If I'm going to be avoided and feared by them, then that sounds great. Bring them on. But if we don't have a moral discipline, if we don't have a spiritual practice, then sky dragons and angels, demons and heretics, it all gets very complicated. It all gets very confusing. So we can manage our life by observing a moral discipline and having a spiritual practice that we stay with, that we continue with. So would anyone like to add something? Would anyone like to share something so far in what we've read? I'm going to put a little bit more wood on the fire. So if someone like to share something, please speak up. So, as Empty Cloud was saying here, it starts with getting a sense of balance. And that's very important. We have to have our balance, or we can hardly do anything. We can hardly go anywhere. We can't even walk without a sense of balance, a simplicity of mind. And it's from that balance that we can not only choose what is meaningful for us, what's valid for us, but we can stick with it. We don't just give up at the turn of a hat. We don't just run away from a situation because we become confused or because we have a pleasant sensation or an unpleasant sensation or a neutral sensation, but actually that we continue applying ourselves. We restart, we refresh. We don't immediately jump up and give up and say, well, I tried meditation, it didn't work. McDonald's works. YouTube works. TikTok works. Well, yeah, it works, but is it really going to help you transform your suffering? Is it really going to help you wake up to see your true nature, your deeper nature? All right, so let's continue. Still got some more time here. We've got some more reading to do. We're quite fortunate to be reading this and listening to this. All right, so it once happened that in the state of Kashmir, a poisonous earth dragon lived in a cave near a monastery of 500 Theravadan arahats. This dragon, so arahat is like an enlightened person, basically. This dragon terrorized the region and made people's lives miserable. Every day the arahats would assemble, and together they would try to use the power of their collective meditation to drive away the dragon. But they always failed. The dragon simply would not leave. So you have these totally spiritual, totally enlightened arahats, people. They can sit in the freezing cold and not die. They can pick up a hot thing of fire and not be burned. Their meditation is explosive, transformative. They will look at you and change your mind just like that. Okay? They're very powerful mind, the most powerful mind you can imagine. Just like a bodybuilder of the mind. Okay? No longer attached to craving, to aversion. They can just sit for hours and hours until their body decays if they chose to do it. So these 500 arahats, these 500 very serious meditators, enlightened meditators, would assemble, and together they would try to use the power of their collective meditation. So they would try to use their spiritual power of meditation to drive away this dragon. But they always failed. The dragon simply would not leave. Then one day, a Mahayana Zen monk, Chan monk, happened to stop at the monastery. The arahats, these enlightened beings, complained about this terrible dragon and asked the monk to join them in meditation, to add the power of his meditation to theirs. "We must force this beast to leave," they wailed. The Chan monk merely smiled at them and went directly to the poisonous dragon's cave. Standing in the cave's entrance, the monk called to the dragon, "Wise and virtuous sir, would you be kind enough to depart from your lair and find refuge in a more distant place?" "Well," said the dragon, "since you have so politely asked, I will accede to your request and depart forthwith." The dragon, you see, had a fine sense of etiquette, so away he went. From their monastery, the arahats watched all this in absolute astonishment. Surely this monk possessed miraculous samadhi powers. Samadhi is a meditation absorption powers. So if you train your mind to a certain degree, then you could close your eyes and visualize anything. Put yourself in any situation, any place. You can generate great states of bliss and happiness and joy. You could heat up your body or cool down your body. So the arahats, these enlightened monks, upon seeing what had happened, they assumed this monk must possess miraculous samadhi powers, miraculous meditation powers. And reading other people's minds and things like that is all in the realm of these special powers. As soon as the monk returned, the arahats gathered around him and begged him to tell them about these wonderful powers. "I did not use any special meditation or samadhi," said the monk. "I simply kept the rules of discipline, and these rules stipulate that I must observe the minor requirements of courtesy as carefully as I observe the major requirements of morality." So we can see that the collective power of 500 arahats' meditation samadhi are sometimes not equal of one monk's simple adherence to the rules of discipline. So that's quite a message that definitely resonates with me. Does everyone feel that they get that? They understand that? Usually when we approaching meditation, we want to become we want to become a super guru or have super special experience. We want to be sitting next to a fire, wearing a robe with our eyebrows shaved off, right? And read it, doing some kind of teaching. We want to have this super hyper special experience. But in the end, we're in a very practical situation. And sometimes not far away from us, there is a poison dragon. And sometimes we're responsible, especially if you get into a certain position, you're responsible for other people. So with all your meditation power, with all your monk power that you have, your inside samadhi power, you couldn't necessarily change that, get that poison dragon to go away. That difficult person, that warlord, that complicated situation that's in your life. But with courtesy, kindness, this simple discipline to stay very, very close to how you act in the world in a simple way, not this hyper-spiritual meditation way. Just through doing that, you can ask the dragon to go away, and they just might. And you can solve a lot of problems in your life with that simple courtesy, that remembering of morality, that there's no excuse, there's no situation where, oh, well, I should be mean here, I should be aggressive here, I should throw away my responsibilities to my morality because of this, and this, and this. But that in every situation, this courtesy, this kindness, this taking care is valid. And sometimes it's a lot more useful than this special meditation experience, this special spiritual lifestyle. And if you ask, why should strict attention to discipline be necessary if the mind has attained a non-judgmental state? Why should an honest and straightforward person, even need to continue to practice meditation or to practice Zen? I would ask such a person, is your mind so secure that if the lovely goddess of the moon were to come down to you and embrace you with her naked body, would your heart remain undisturbed? And you, if someone without having cause were to insult or to strike you, would you feel no anger and resentment? Can you be certain that you would always resist comparing yourself to others, or that you would always refrain from being judgmental? Can you be sure that you would always know right from wrong? Now, if you are absolutely certain that you would never yield to temptation, that you would never err at all, then open your mouth and speak loud and clear. Otherwise, do not even whisper a lie. So a lot of times it's easy to convince ourselves of our own enlightenment. Well, why do I need to do this? Why do I need to be a good person? Why do I need to practice meditation? I already get it. I'm already enlightened. It's other people who have the problem. It's other people who have the issues. I'm finished, I'm done. Don't bother me with this stuff anymore. Are you actually in that position? Or is it just a place of privilege that you happen to be in? Good circumstances, good causes and conditions where you feel, I don't really have any problems. I don't really have any difficulties. Is it that you're laying in a bed of feathers? And is that why you're saying that? And if you really ask yourself, if you really question, if I were to be in a difficult situation, if someone were to come up to me and just slap me in the face, would I not feel any anger or resentment or reactivity? Would I not give in to this selfishness, this attachment? And for most people, for most everyone, that answer is no, of course you're not enlightened. Of course you're not in this place of a non-judgmental mind, a mind of being in a non-judgmental state, or being, quote unquote, honest and straightforward according to this enlightenment mind. And actually, it's for me, I think it's a great test. It's the slap test. If you think your teacher is enlightened, and it's a shame to say this, but it's a true test. It's a fair test. If you think your teacher is enlightened, go up to them and slap them in the face. It's tough to say it, but it's true. Because an enlightened person is not stuck, is not attached to their body, to their mind, to this sense of self. And they certainly are not going to respond with anger or hatred or animosity. That's not what enlightenment is about. That's not what really being at peace is about. And just so everyone knows, I am not enlightened. So you don't need to slap me in the face to find that out. But some teachers, they might be saying that, well, I've got this enlightened experience. So you go and test it. So do not pretend to be enlightened. Follow these rules of discipline. Stick to your morality. Remember your spiritual practice. And through that, continue on the path. All right, so we've now been going for a little bit less than an hour. And we're going to continue reading from Empty Cloud's teachings day by day. And we will finish now with some meditation. A little bit of a longer period of meditation, okay? So everyone take a moment to adjust your posture. Take a moment to get comfortable. And pick up, remember, bring to your mind your meditation method, especially if you're new to meditation. And new to meditation can be 5-10 years. You want to know how you are applying the mind, how you are practicing meditation. So focusing, for example, focusing on the feelings of your breath flowing in through your nose, or focusing on the rising and falling of your stomach, or focusing on physical sensations, the sensations of the body, or counting your breath, or doing metta, repeating with your own inner voice, may I be happy, may you be happy, may all beings be happy. So pick your method, select a method that's simple for you, comfortable for you at this moment. And with the inspiration and the support of everyone who's gathered here, we're going to practice meditation together, okay? So we'll ring the bell 3 times to begin, and ring the bell 3 times to end. Okay, and finishing, we can all bring our hands together and we can say 3 sadhus. Sadhu. 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 Okay, thank you for joining, everyone. We will continue our study and reading of Zen Master Empty Cloud's teachings, and also meditating together, same time tomorrow and every day. And our next group meditation practice will be at 2 p.m. New York time, and that's 8 p.m. Here in Italy. So about 4 or 5 hours from now. Yeah, about 4 or 5 hours from now. So hope to see some of you there. Take care of yourselves, and thank you for practicing. Thank you for joining.
Thank you.